Alright, here's another example of graphing trig functions. Okay, in this case it says I want to graph 1/3 tangent of theta plus 2. There are certain problems like this one that you don't have to do a considerable amount of work, but you do want to make a few notes to begin with. Okay, the first thing, tangent specifically doesn't have an amplitude, but this 1/3 that's in front of the tangent does determine where some of my special points are going to be. So what I'll do is I'll put amplitude here in quotes. Okay, I understood that I understand that I don't have one, but the amplitude, if I had one, would be 1/3. Okay. And the second thing is I have this value of 2 that's added at the end. So my whole graph is going to be shifted up 2 units. All right. Now, because I'm being shifted up 2 units, this is going to change where my center line is. So I'm going to have a center line at 2. From here, what I can do is I can basically go to the graph of tangent, just my basic graph, and I can sketch the graph I have here from that basic graph. Notice that here there's no change to the quarter points. In other words, nothing is being done to theta, so there's no change to my quarter points. Alright, let's see what I can do about graphing this function. Okay, first of all, for tangent, I know that I have asymptotes at negative pi over 2. So here's that one. And positive pi over 2. There's that one. Because there's no change to my quarter points, I will go ahead and label my 5 quarter points. I have negative pi over 2. I have negative pi over 4. I have 0. I have pi over 4. And then, of course, pi over 2. Now, this particular problem says that my graph has been shifted up 2 units. So I'm going to go up 1, 2 units. So my understood center line, now once again, this is not an asymptote, this is just a point of reference, but my center line is here at 2. Alright, let me go ahead and label some of this stuff so we can see. This is 1, this is 2, above that would understood to be 3. Now, even though tangent doesn't have an amplitude, that 1/3 means that above my center line, a third of the way up, I will have a point up, and a third of the way down, I will have a point above some of the specific quarter points. Okay. For the graph of tangent, I know I go through what would normally be the origin, but in this case it's been shifted up 2 units, so I would go through that particular point. The quarter point just to its right, I would go above that center line a third of a unit. So this is actually at 2 and 1/3. Okay, on the other side, to the left, I would have above that quarter point of negative pi over 4, I would go a third of a unit below. Okay, that would actually be at the value 1 and 2/3. In other words, a third of a unit below 2 would be 1 and 2/3. And so my graph is going through those values and then being pulled towards my asymptotes. So that would be the labeling and the work that I would want to see for this particular problem.